go and do other technical jobs. But in Kenya, everyone is aiming towards the university. It doesn't make sense because university see technical skills. We need more people to go to vocational training. And those are the drivers of they're the engine of our economy basically. But hakuna industries za hawa tu kuwork. Wanataka tumalize shule, tuende Saudi Arabia, tuende Germany, tuende tujenge nchi zingine instead of building our own country. So for me, as you said, we need a complete change of the CSs, the MPs, and we put in people who understand what they're doing, who are professionals in those fields. When they speak, at least tunasikia these people know what they're saying, and we are headed the right direction. Right now, everyone, even someone illiterate, knows that Kenya is not headed in the right direction. You can all tell that we are either stuck or heading in the complete wrong direction.
Thank you very much. Billy Mia, I can see you. Niaje bro, Billy?
Mimi niko fiti sana. Good evening guys.
Good evening, good evening.
Uko poa?
Uko fiti.
First of all, thank you so much for this space for the Citizen Assembly. And as a Kenyan right now, I'm really weeping, you know. It is sad to be a Kenyan. It is painful to be a Kenyan. And it is so shameful that we have very, very incompetent MPs, incompetent governors, incompetent ministers. It is so shameful. These are the times that as a Kenyan you feel that you don't even want to tell people that you are a Kenyan. It is so sad that you take someone who is a class 8 dropout and you give them a fucking whole ministry. They don't even know what to do in that ministry. They don't even know what to do. They don't even know what to achieve. They don't even know the policies that they're supposed to put there to make sure combat things work. As it is right now, if someone is keen and if people are observing well, this country is headed to the right direction. Tukifinya na tufinye jinsi tunavyofinya peacefully, we're going to head in the right direction. Now, the youth of this country, na ningependa sana niweze kuongea na vijana wa nchi ya Kenya. I'm speaking to you from a position of know-how. This is the time that Kenya is facing a revolution that is very peaceful and with a little blood that is going to be shed. It pains me that kuna vijana ambao wanaitwa mahali usiku, wanapewa shilingi 1,000 kwa bwana, kesho the people are going to the streets, let's make sure hawa riot, let's make sure hawasemi chenye wanataka kusema. You're being used by a leader who gave your mom 50 bob or a packet of unga to vote for them. If you divide that 50 bob with 5 years, how much is it? How much is it? Yani inauma sana kwamba kama kijana watu wamejitokeza, they start making changes in this country. But wewe unaitwa na mwanasiasa anakupatia rungu, then they give you 1,000 bob and you sell your soul for 1,000 shillings. Yet we are fighting for something that's going to change the future of this nation. I've never seen an incompetent government like the one we have right about now. I am in the media industry. I've been in the media industry for about 18 years right now. The Kenyan governments have refused to pay money owned by these media houses. Standard is suffering. MediaMax is suffering. Raw Media Services is suffering. Even international media houses are suffering because of some debts and very bogus policies that have been put up by these regimes. Na hii government ya sasa ndio yani inachoma kila siku, inachoma kila siku. Na unapata vijana ambao wamesoma, wana akili, wanafikiria, they accept peanuts and they start blogging for the state. Yet what we are fighting for is going to even help them and their children and their future generations, you know. Sometimes unaona mtu kama Mutai Abraham anaongea kitu najiuliza, is this guy normal? Doesn't he know that we are fighting for a common good for this country, you know? And every person ambaye alijitokeza kwenye maandamano, every person that is on the streets, they are not goons. They are people who are fighting for the future of the country. So I want to request my fellow Kenyans, let's support these guys. Tufinye mahali ambayo inahitajika, and these leaders, they should not get a chance to speak in any forum. Yani MP yoyote amekuja kwenu hati anaweka mkutano anataka kuongea, tufinye asiongee if at all they've not done any development in that area. The promises they made while we were voting for them, kama hawajafanya hata moja, they should not be allowed to speak. This country needs to be very hot for these ministers and cabinet secretaries and MPs, governors. It doesn't matter the side of the political divide. If they've not done what they're supposed to do, they don't even deserve to be called honorable members. They are not honorable because we woke up very early in the morning. We voted for them, thinking they're going to change this country. But they are giving us mediocrity. And it's very painful, by the way. We cannot be transferring teachers, doctors, even police officers, for heaven's sake. Yet we have issues that are disturbing us in this country. So my fellow youth, tafadhali, tufinye mahali ambayo inahitajika, tufinye pressure mpaka wajue kwamba we are the people that are in charge, we are the people that have power. And let's make sure we take votes. Toka, nenda uchukue kura. Chukua kura, kana silaha yako. Ikifika 2027, even if it's a real mama mboga ambayo tutampatia UMP, tujue kwamba ni mama mboga tumempa, na atakuwa accountable to the citizens and they'll do what they're supposed to do. What has happened in the recent past, people have loyalty to the party leader and the party. They don't have loyalty to the people who elected them. Unaanza kuringia watu kwamba Mungu amekusaidia umepata gari. Yet it is our taxes ambazo tunalipa zinaporwa, zinaibiwa, alafu unakuja unaturingia. Unasema una vote yes kwa sababu president amesema. Did the president vote for you? It's a fucked up country.
Called the National Youth Council. Do you know that thing? The secretary of that National Youth Council is a 42-year-old person. Yet that council is supposed to be run, the secretary is supposed to be a young person, 35 years and below. You people know about National Youth Council. Yet hii kitu inaendelea kukula pesa ya serikali kila siku. Hakuna mtu anaongelea hiyo kitu. Tunanyamaza tu, watu wakikula pesa, wakienda wakipewa budget, wakitumia pesa siku 2-3, hizo ndio pesa wanapeana huku kina Shalini wakikimbia nayo huku. Wakisema wanasaidia vijana. The National Youth Council need to be transformed. Ikuwe ya vijana. Uko 45 years na uko hapo unarana hapo, unafanya nini hapo? It's easy to say, but it's never the Goofy, I've seen you. Karibu.
Hey guys.
Go on.
Hey, can you hear me?
Right.
Yeah, perfect. Hi guys, my name is Goofy. I am a performing poet and filmmaker based in Nairobi, Kenya. Essentially, I'm an entertainer, and the thing that I need you guys to know is we have a history of forgetting real fast. But the good thing about art is art uses whoever is there to document the times, to cement history and document anything that cannot be published. And through art, we have musicians, we have poets, we have filmmakers. And the one thing that I noticed about this revolution is it caught everyone off guard, especially the leaders. But us, as the people, we knew it was brewing, we knew it was coming, we just didn't expect it to be this soon. The thing that I want to say is we should not forget people have been shot, um, they're dead, some have been buried, some are still in jail, some have injuries, and the leaders are still as arrogant as they were because the narrative that is being pushed right now is Ruto is listening to the people while he's not. The space does not. To other people in other African countries, it looks like he's reaching out to us, but in essence, we know what is happening. He is just milking it dry so that the PR works for him. But we should not forget whatever is being said here is we should go get our votes. We should educate ourselves on these things because we have the power, and there's nothing that beats a citizen that is united, and we are united right now. The June 25th demonstrations really rattled everyone. It rattled the government real bad, and we should keep that pressure. With that said, I was requested to do a piece, a poem, spoken word, and this is called To Live Here. To live here is to live in fear. You don't know if this life is yours. You don't know if you own anything else that isn't your thoughts. Your mind might be the only place that feels like home, but only if you don't share your raging thoughts. Here, the loud ones, the smart ones, the nosy ones, they disappear here. The trees in Kikuyu and the bushes in the Mao know more about missing people than the ones who took them here. We wish trees could speak, but they too are being cut down here. Trees wish we could speak, but we too are being gunned down here. We forget names like Willie Kimani, Baby Pendo. Here, you can be shot whether you are a lawyer, a taxi driver, or unauza nyama pare gara. Here, if you are a young man aged 19 to 22 who likes wearing faded jeans that are torn on the knees and seemingly a good Odi dancer, you'll be shot here. Your death won't mean a thing to a police unit that's funded by your taxes here. Body bags have more work than the youths of this place here. The country eats its own people. 1 minute you're with them, the next you're dead and gone. A moment of silence for Evans Njoroge. To live here is to embody Koleka Putuma. Collective amnesia stays within us. Here, we forget to count after every 5 years. Here, leaders manipulate the votes and pass it out as the voice of the people. People with no voices, people with no choices, people with no health care, no security, or an average life standards. Here, the only cues we respect are the ones found along tribal lines. Here, we are one. Foolish people here. Thieves use their loot as manifestos to kickstart their careers here. Thieves appear in top 30, 40, and 50, and the top 30, 40, and 50 here. Golf gets more funding than the education kitty. To live here is to constantly think of death. Here, you have to look right, then left, then right, then left while crossing a one-way road. To live here is to constantly think of death. Here, you can get a brain surgery when you checked in with a cold. Here, cartels run a hospital. Here, criminals own a hospital. Here, rapists have a hospital. Here, you have to light a candle after the many deaths we invite into our lives here. We are experts in instant rage, but amateurs in following up here. We forget more what hurts us as a people and always remember the silly stuff here. We are comfortable with heavy taxation, a rogue police unit, suppression of free speech, unequipped hospitals, corrupt officials, a dormant constitution, selective human rights, a fast ending forest cover, privately owned killer dams, deaths upon deaths and deaths upon deaths. This is the life we live. And the people they've killed, I'm going to say their name: Rex Masai, Dr. Margaret, Evans Kiratu, Franco Koth, Nick Adams, Eric Njeru, David Chege, Ian Kerr, Belinda Cheng, Beasley Kamau, Edwin Otieno, say their names. Erickson Mutisia, Eric Otieno, Credo Yaro, say their name. Eric Sheni, Emmanuel Tata, Ibrahim Kamau, Kennedy Onyango, I've said your names. And these are the ones we know. We live as Kenyans fighting for your spirit, fighting for your life until we get a better Kenya. To live here is to live in fear, but we don't have to live in fear. We have the power to tafinya mpaka Zakayo ashuke. Thank you.
Right, all right, all right. Thank you very much. I really, really promote artists. I respect artists because we cannot have a mental revolution without artists talking to us and reminding us where we've come from. The reason why they are diverting the study of history, literature, anthropology, sociology, philosophy, civics, social ethics, psychology. The reason why these subjects, the establishment calls them useless subjects, is because these are the subjects that promote citizen awareness, they sensitize citizens, they awaken them, they unite them, because they call you to your spiritual consciousness. Without spiritual consciousness, we cannot achieve anything. The protestation that we've been experiencing the last 3 weeks is because we have joined together as a generation through a spirit of liberation. We want to liberate ourselves from the chains of tyranny. We want to liberate ourselves from the imperialism in parliament. We want to liberate ourselves from the mockery and the contempt coming from the mouths of politicians, careless, reckless, useless politicians, heartless, tearless, callous, stone-hearted, cold-hearted, no-hearted. They steal our resources every day. They steal our taxes. And when you ask them, they shoot you. They buy bullets, but they can't buy food. They buy tankers, but they can't buy water tanks. Our children are struggling. Our mothers are pained. Our fathers are hopeless. While these callous politicians sit in big hotels, and even they have hotels in the parliament so that they can eat. After vomiting on us, then they vomit again and vomit again. And when you ask them why they are vomiting, they diarrhea on you through reckless and callous statements. They don't care about you. They don't care about us. They care about nothing. They care about their wallets. When it is about them, they unite. They speak in one voice to pass that bill that raises their salary, to pass that bill that gives them access to public resources. But when it's about you and me, they don't sit in the chambers. We are only left with the judiciary chambers, where we go begging for justice. Yet we've been told in our national anthem that justice is our shield and defender. Why do they take it away from us? Why should we bend? Why should we beg? Why should we cry for justice? Why? Why should we beg for the president to listen to us? He's not deaf. And we are not ENT doctors. We are citizens. Listen to us. Don't kill us. You can beat us with a stick, but we shall stick together in a spirit of liberation. We want to liberate ourselves, and this is not about me and you. This is about the generation that is coming behind us. They will be asking us, Father, Mother, we gave you this future. What did you do with it? The future does not belong to me and you. The future belongs to those behind us. It is them that have given us this future so that we take care of it on their behalf. And when they are adults, they will ask us, you let us down. Daddy, Mommy, you let us down. You didn't fight for us. We don't have a future. We don't have a country. They will be looking at our country and say, here lies the ruins. Here lies a country that used to be called Kenya. Looted, dehydrated by the powers that be. If we don't build together in a spirit of liberation, going to the street in protestation, raising our voices, clenching our fist, and asking what belongs to us, the political class will continue eating, looting, and destroying our future as we look at them. It's time to mobilize our energy. Whatever you do, whatever thing you are, whoever you are, it is time to mobilize our energy. We need to drain the swamp because the swamp cannot sustain our future anymore. The swamp is polluted by rats, snakes, and toads, crocodiles, parasites. We must drain the swamp. No matter how many days it takes, that swamp has to be drained.
Eric,
Next speaker.
to interrupt you.
Yes.
So yeah, thank
Your mic is off.
Sorry to interrupt you, bro.
Go on, go on.
I totally agree with your views. I feel like art must certainly play a major role in any kind of movement, especially this kind of movement that we have here in Kenya right now, because it is a very unique kind of movement. I don't think in the history of protests and we've never seen this kind of movement before, because it is just very purely organic and stemming from all sections of the country. So it's not centered on anyone. So I would like, before I briefly proceed, to thank the previous speakers. I think the words that we've had here have struck a very deep chord within us all. I feel like those words were speaking to each and every one of us who is part of this movement, because we are at a very critical stage. We have seen so many things happening in the last few weeks. We've had some very high moments in the movement. And when I say the movement, I call it the movement because when you call them protests, protests can be about a thing. Protests can be about something, you know. But this movement, it's bigger than the protests, because it's not even about the youth that have been on the streets. I feel like the message has transcended throughout every young Kenyan, no matter what part of the country you're in. It's a movement that is spread across counties. We saw people showing up and speaking out in all parts of the country. So it's not moved by tribe. It's not moved by social class. I don't want to get too much into that. So for now, I will agree. Art is going to play a major role in this movement. Like we saw today, the concert was a very nice example of how art can play a very major role in any kind of movement, because we have to bring out our creative side, because that is what they try to suppress first, because they have to suppress your creative side. They have to suppress the things that make you who you are. So, but the point is, we are at a very critical stage of the movement because we've seen the state trying to instigate malls into the movement. We've seen many things happening. So right now, the truth, so much is going on. It might be a bit confusing for some of us. The information overload might be getting to us a bit, but you have to stay focused because in every movement, there's always going to be pushback from whoever you're demanding accountability from. In this case, we're demanding accountability from the state, not for one thing. We are demanding accountability for many things. And so the situation has become so complicated that it's the view of the majority of Kenyans that, yes, we do have so many problems, and at this stage, the only way to fix it, the only solution right now is to start afresh. We need like a complete turnover of everything. So you cannot try to shift the ideas of the movement or try to bring side shows into the movement. So we saw recently what happened. I'm going to try and get a bit straight into the point because I know the majority of people on this space, they are social media users. We had Billy speak some moments earlier, very esteemed journalist, a man we all know him very well. But this movement cannot be pinned down into one thing or one leader or one other thing. But Billy made a very interesting point. He noted that some people are getting paid to go and cause chaos in this protest. I want to assure Billy that this movement started on social media. And I'm sure the people who are on this, tuned into this space right now, none of them would even have the time to get out there unless